You want to say hi to Sarge?
I'm outside now.
All right, folks, here we go. The Vipers playing Peoria today. Just to let everybody know, the St. Louis Sting won both last night and this morning. And so if the Vipers are going to make a playoff run, they are going to have to pretty much win the remaining 3 games. And it starts right here with Peoria. Peoria is already in. They're fighting for the 2 or the 3 seed. They've had a very good season, so it's going to be a tall order, but we all know the Vipers can do it. All right, Vipers starting off with Luke, Axel, Tony up front, David, and Bennett on D. And off we go. Peoria wins the draw back in their own zone. And brings it up to center where they lose it to Bennett, who loses it. Kept in the zone by Peoria, now behind the Viper net. And now comes Luke out of his own zone, across center ice. He's got Tony with him. Oh, nice move around 2 guys. He shoots right into the red desk of the goalie. Nice move by Luke. Beat 2 defenders there, but his shot was stopped. Sorry for no scoreboard today. The iPad isn't working, so I wasn't able to put up the scoreboard. My apologies. So now we got Brendan, Stas, and Kyle out there with Steven and Mason. And Stas wins it back to Steven on the blue line, whose pass is intercepted by Peoria, who comes away now. Oh! And Peoria was in on a break, hits the crossbar, and now they keep it in the zone. Oh, we got a penalty coming up on the Vipers, and the whistle will blow it dead. And it's going to be a hold on Mason. Peoria playing fast in this opening minute. And so here we go. We've got Jacob and Sebastian out there with Nolan and Bennett on the penalty kill. Now Peoria behind the Viper net. Back to the D. Across the blue line. Back to the top. Shot on net. Blocked. Rebound. Chipped over the Viper net. Bennett comes away with it behind the net. Now Peoria has it. Back up to the D. Shot blocked. Nice job by Sebastian on the block. Shot covered up by Barrett. Now Luke and Eli out there with Steven and David. And Eli ties this man up off the draw. Comes to the Peoria D. Now Peoria shot wide. Now back up. Shot blocked by Steven. Back to Peoria, who are passing the puck very nicely on the power play. Now Steven, without his stick, has to kick it up, but Peoria comes away with it. 50 seconds left in the Viper penalty. Now Steven has his puck back, stick back. Shot on Barrett is deflected up right into his chest. Nice save. 49 seconds left on the Viper penalty. 12:54 left in the first. 0-0. Axel and Tony with Nolan and Bennett. And they'll draw one to Bennett. Flips it around the side. Peoria able to keep it in. Now their defenseman loses it down low. Center. And Tony Herman there to break it up. Axel putting pressure on. Now back to the D, long shot, wide of the net. 20 seconds left on the Viper penalty. Shot on net, blocked again. Nice job by Bennett there, who pushes it up to Tony. Peoria comes away with it in their own zone. Vipers on the change. And Peoria into the Viper zone. It's Steven able to pass it. And that's it for the penalty. Both teams now at full strength. Brendan up to Stas. Stas in. He's got Kyle with him. Shot on. Blocked and the rebound knocked away by Peoria. Now Stas in the corner to Kyle. Looking up top, but nobody there. Peoria tries to clear it. David keeps it in. Oh, and he loses it. And now Peoria is going to have a breakaway. Steven hustling back. Shot on Barrett. Nice save. Now Peoria with the rebound out to the D. And they dump it in deep. Oh, and the shot. Oh! And Peoria had a shot on net. The rebound came to the Peoria offensive player. Barrett able to cover it up before the shot. And here we go. We've got Eli, Jacob, Sebastian out there with Nolan and Bennett. Vipers starting to push back a little bit. And the draw is one to Nolan, who clears it on the stretch pass for Eli, who's got a step, who's in. And Eli, shot. Oh, saved by the goalie. What a great play. They worked that stretch play to perfection there. Eli beat his man, got a nice shot off. And now Axel, Tony, Luke back out. And Luke. This is the shot wide. Axel comes away with it. And Peoria pushes it up. The puck actually went off of Bennett's face. I'm sorry, Bennett's helmet. And Peoria with a centering chance, nobody home. Now to center ice, Peoria comes back with it. And Peoria going off for a change. Now the Vipers coming back. Jacob applying pressure in the Peoria zone. Now David with a nice interception into the zone. He's taken down, no penalty called, and the puck is left on the doorstep. All right. So David makes a nice play, chucks the puck to the front of the net. The Peoria goalie thought that they had it covered. They did not. And Sebastian was right there on the doorstep to knock it in. Vipers up 1-0. 10:35 left in the first. And folks, that's what we needed. A fast start, get out in front. If we're going to win this game, we got to play like that. Here we go. Jacob, Eli, Sebastian stay out there with David and Mason. And now here comes Eli. Oh, lost the handle of the puck. Now Peoria coming back on the center ice, tries to chip it in. And now here comes Jacob. And Peoria, a couple physical plays by Peoria on the near side. Back to David, who cross ice to Mason, who dumps it deep into the Peoria zone. Vipers off for a change. Stas, Brendan, Kyle out there. Now Peoria back on. Oh, Steven loses it. Shot on. Right. Oh, Peoria with a nice chance. They stole the puck in the Viper zone. They were in on Barrett. Barrett made a nice save and freezes the puck. So now Nolan and Bennett come out there to join Brendan, Stas, and Kyle. Nolan with it behind his own net. Up ahead to Kyle. Up to Stas into center ice. Stas will bring it into the Peoria zone. Beats the two men. Tries to leave it for Kyle. Just missed on the pass. Now Kyle back to Nolan. And Nolan over to Bennett. Bennett with a shot on net. Blocked in front. And Peoria comes away with it behind their own net. And into the Peoria zone. I'm sorry, into the Viper zone. Now back to center ice. And Peoria with it behind the Viper net. And just kind of scrumming along for the puck. Now it's back to the defense. Intercepted by Stas. Brings it into the Peoria zone. He is fully covered as the Vipers on the change. Now Mason, shot, rebound. Knocked away. David shoots again into the goalie's pads. Good stretch there for the Vipers, putting some sustained pressure on them. All right, David and Mason out there with Luke, Axel, Tony, and now Peoria out of their own zone. With a 2-on-2, Mason steps up, takes his man out with the body. Nice play. Peoria still keeps it though. Shot on, blocked by David. Rebound knocked away. And now comes David out of his own zone over to Tony. Tony with a nifty little move. For Axel, that pass is picked off, and now come Peoria. David with a nice stick. Now centering pass, nobody home there for Peoria. Mason able to knock it clear, and the Vipers come away. Here comes Eli with Jacob. That play probably was offside. They didn't see it. Now Jacob with the puck behind the net. Leaves it for Sebastian, but Peoria comes away with it now behind their own net. Steven able to keep it in for Sebastian down low. And they're still fighting for it now. Peoria comes away to center ice into the Viper zone. 3 men back for the Vipers. Peoria keeps it in the zone. Pass is blocked away, and then a long shot on Barrett, who had no problem with it. Now Bennett behind the net, over to Kyle. Up to Stas. Well, Stas's pass is blocked, and Peoria dumps it back in. Vipers having a little trouble getting off the ice. The defensive door. Mason. His pass goes out of the zone. Oh, and the Peoria man was offside. Otherwise, the Vipers might have had a 3-on-2. 6:35 left in the first period. 1-0 Vipers. Tony, Axel, and Luke. Nolan, and Mason. Sorry folks, a little technical difficulty there. Had to cut off the stream for a minute. And we're still at 1-0 Vipers. There's 5 minutes, 7 seconds left in the first. Long shot from Peoria, man right in front. Oh, wow. Peoria had a man wide open on the doorstep, was about to score a goal. Noah with a great stick to stop a goal. Now Brendan behind the net gets checked through the boards. Peoria comes away with it. And 2 men back for the Vipers. And Peoria centers it. Oh, a shot gets deflected wide. The physicality of the game seems to be picking up a little bit here. And now Stas out of his zone, up ahead to Brendan in center ice. Brendan back to Stas. And Stas back to Bennett up front. Tries to throw it. I'm sorry, he was back. Tried to throw it up front. Nobody home, but the Vipers able to keep it in. David threw it towards the Peoria net. Stopped by Peoria's goalie. Alright, so we have Eli, Sebastian, Jacob out there with David and Bennett. And Jacob wins the draw. Back to David. Kept in by Sebastian, who's taken down, no call. Eli able to keep the puck in, but his dump opportunity knocked out by Peoria. Now here come the Vipers. Eli to center ice. Here we go. Nice pass by Sebastian to Jacob, but too many Peoria men back. Peoria comes in, dumps it into the Viper zone. The Vipers come away with it in their zone. Passes deflected towards the front of the net, but David gets it. And moves it forward to Axel. Axel out there with Tony and Luke. Axel to Tony. Tony tried a centering pass, missed it. And now comes Peoria out. But they lose the puck to the Vipers. And now Steven. Up to Mason. To Tony, cross ice. Tony bringing it into the Peoria zone. And now Peoria comes in. Nolan steps up. And puck came to the Viper defenseman. His pass is deflected by Tony behind the Viper net. Centering pass for Peoria. Nobody home. Now Peoria in their own zone. Peoria brings it into the Viper zone. Centering pass. Shot goes wide. Ooh, big hit on the far side. Both Brendan and the Peoria player going for the puck and both looking for the hit. Now Kyle. Puck in the Viper zone. But Peoria now on center ice with a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Oh, nice little play, but Barrett was there. And now to David. David up ahead to Kyle. Peoria takes it. Both teams just kind of flying around center ice. Nothing much happening at the moment. And now here we go, the Vipers into the Peoria zone. Eli, now the puck out, back to center ice again. Up ahead to Eli, into Peoria zone. Looked like a slash, no call. And now Luke dumps it in deep. Peoria trying to get out of the zone. Now they do, into the Viper zone. Good use of the body by Luke. To David. Over to Mason. Viper fan is looking for a too many men call. Not going to get it. David now back to Mason. Loses it. Peoria had a wide open opportunity in the low slot. And the shot went over the net. Peoria maintains control though at center ice. And now they pass it into the zone. And that will end the first period. Fast-paced, physical first period. Vipers up 1-0. And here we go to start the second period. It will be Kyle, Stas, and Brendan out there with David and Nolan. 1-0 Vipers, start at 2. Face off back to Peoria. And now Nolan gets it over to David. David up to Brendan. Brendan back to Nolan. Nolan over to Kyle. Back to Nolan. And now David. Cross ice to Kyle. And here come the Vipers into the Peoria zone. Kyle leads it with Stas. Puck gets chipped away from him. And here comes Peoria on the break. Oh! What? I'm not sure exactly what happened. I heard a post. And then I think Barrett made a great save on the rebound. I know there's this thing that goalies do, then they take the posts. I think Barrett should do it on that one. But a miscommunication in the offensive zone by the Vipers leads to another breakaway for Peoria. But a great play by Barrett and a little help from the post to keep this a 1-0 game. So Sebastian, Jacob, Eli with Mason and Steven. Peoria wins the zone, or wins the draw in the zone. Shot is deflected wide into the corner. Now Steven. That is Jacob down there tangling with Peoria. Now Peoria comes away with it. And now Eli. Able to take the puck out of the zone to center ice. He's going to dump it deep. And now Peoria. Vipers on a change. Peoria come away with a 3-on-2. Oh! Had a chance. The centering pass went through the crease, but nobody home. Now Axel to Tony into the Peoria zone. Tony with the centering pass to Peoria defenseman. They're able to knock it away. Peoria comes away with it. Into the Viper zone, but now Mason headmans it up to Luke. And now Luke over to Axel. Axel with a 1-on-1. Peoria back to help. Now Tony intercepts it. Back to Bennett. Wraparound pass goes to Tony. That puck knocked away. Now comes Peoria. Long shot. Stopped by Barrett. Pass to Mason. Back to Bennett. And now the Vipers break out. The clearing pass is intercepted. Shot by Peoria. Glove saved by Barrett. Face off in the Viper zone. Stas, Kyle, Brendan with Nolan and David. 1-0 Vipers, 12:39 left in the second. And now Kyle comes into the Peoria zone, makes a move, and just couldn't control the puck enough. And the pass just trickled over the blue line. Vipers are offside. Kyle with a nice move to try and get the shot off, but had a couple sticks in his way. And now we got Sebastian, Jacob, and Eli out there with David and Oliver. And it was great to see Oliver out there. His first game since he broke his arm against the Leafs, I believe it was in October. Jacob giving a rough ride over there. But the Vipers cannot keep it in the zone. Now David comes away with it in his own zone. Able to clear it to center ice. And here comes Oliver. In his first action in several months after that broken arm, up to Sebastian. Sebastian with a quick little move, leaves it for Axel. Too many Peoria men there, though. But, and we're going to have a penalty coming up on Peoria. Looks like they were called for a rough on Sebastian over on the far side. Vipers will go on the power play. Coach Tim sending out the Axel, Luke, Tony line to start the power play. Steven and Mason on the blue line. And the team's fighting for the draw. Comes away to Peoria now. However, Tony keeps it in to Mason. And Mason back to Tony. Tony in on net. Shot blocked to Axel. Now Axel back to Mason on the blue line. Back to Axel on the side slot. Axel to Tony. Hello, Tony getting... Oh. Now Vipers come back after Peoria thought they had a steal shot. Right on the goalie. Good start to the power play, though, for the Vipers. Keeping the puck in the Peoria zone for the first 29 seconds. 1:31 left. And the Peoria penalty. Stops Brendan, Kyle with Nolan and Bennett. And stops wins the draw. Back to Bennett. Bennett along the wall to Brendan. Brendan back to Bennett along the blue line. Over to Nolan. Going with the shot right on. Kyle was right in front. But the Peoria goalie had a pretty good angle on that. And we'll have a face-off at the near side Peoria zone. Minute 18 left. 10:55 left in the second. Peoria wins the draw. Brings it along the board. Stas able to keep it in there. Well, Stas for some reason takes it out of the zone. Brings it back in on the regroup. Backhanded shot. Blocked by the goalie. And Nolan able to keep the Peoria with the puck now into the Viper zone. Now Bennett behind his own net. Up to Stas. Carries it to center ice. And the Vipers weave their way into the zone. Now Kyle leaves it for David, but they can't keep it in the zone. David over to Nolan in his own zone. Long pass, missed the mark, taken away by Peoria. And Peoria brings it in the Viper zone. Peoria shot saved by Barrett. Rebound comes to Nolan, who brings it to center ice. And into the Peoria zone. And now Jacob. Jacob up top to David. David whipped on the shot to Eli though. But Peoria able to come away with it and make clear. And the Peoria penalty now over. Both teams at full strength, but Peoria called on the ice. .32 left in the second. 1-0 Vipers. And Peoria wins the draw. But the Vipers able to keep it in. Nice play by David. Now to Eli. Eli chips it toward the Peoria net, gloved by the keeper. And we'll have a face-off. And here we go. Tony Axel loop. But Peoria wins the draw. Stephen and Bennett back on D. And Peoria chips it deep. And now Peoria along the far side. Puck squirts free to Bennett. Bennett over to Stephen. Vipers miss on a pass. Went right in front of the net, but Peoria not able to get a shot off. And now here comes Peoria back again. Into the Viper zone. Puck comes away. Pass is knocked off of the Viper leg. Goes back to center ice. And now Peoria ships it into the zone. Right to Barrett, however, and frozen. So there we go. Stas, Kyle, Brendan with David and Nolan. Stas makes the face off to David. Passes it behind his own net to Nolan. And Nolan and Kyle unable to connect. Stas putting pressure on Peoria as the puck trickles into their zone. Now Peoria comes away with it. However, they would have been in offside. Now David in his own zone, able to chip it ahead to Brendan. Over to Eli. Into the Peoria zone. And Eli chips it deep. Now Brendan behind the net. Back to Eli. Couple Peoria defensemen right there. Puck trickles to the goalie. Knocked aside. And now Peoria to center ice. But Jacob right there to interrupt that rush. And now Tony back to Nolan. Up to David to Sebastian. And Sebastian clears it to center ice for Peoria there to dump it right back in. Now Sebastian. And that Sebastian's pass is intercepted. In comes Peoria, shot. Saved by Barrett. And the Vipers able to clear it to center ice. And now Vipers on a change. Peoria comes away into the Viper zone. Nolan able to force the Peoria man to change his course. He comes right back to the center. Shot on net, saved by Barrett. A little scrum in front of the net there. So now Steven and Mason on D. Kyle, Brendan, Stas. Nope, I'm sorry. Kyle, Stas, Luke. Stas comes away with it, but gets knocked off the puck. Now Mason in the Peoria zone. His shot is blocked. And Vipers on a change. And Peoria had an odd man chance. Put the shot wide. Stas was hurt, evidently. Came limping off the ice, which left that odd man rush. Now shot on the net. Blocked aside and puck comes away to Kyle, who is checked into the boards. And Peoria now clears it, had a man waiting at the blue line, but he couldn't control it. And Mason leaves it for Steven. Steven up to Eli, tries to head it up to Axel, but Peoria now. It's Eli, Axel, Brendan. And now Peoria dumps it into the zone. Bennett back there to chase. Now Peoria tries to send a shot to the center. Knocked aside, Mason. And Peoria able to keep it in the zone. 30. Who whip on the pass. Now Eli able to dump it deep. Gets ridden off the puck. And icing waved off now. Nolan in his own zone. Over to Bennett. Up to Sebastian. Now Sebastian. And the puck goes out of play. 4:21 left in the second. Still 1-0 Vipers. This has been a very, very close game, very tight. But both teams getting equal of the play, I would say. And now the draw goes back into the Viper zone with David. Over to Steven, up to Tony, who's out there with Luke and Sebastian. Now Luke into the Viper zone, leaves it, nobody home though. And Peoria able to clear it to center. And here they come on the offensive rush. Centering pass. Tipped right to Barrett. Freezes the puck. 3:58 left in the first. 1-0 Vipers. So now we've got another draw in the Viper zone. Comes away to Brendan. Pushes it up to Stas. Into the Viper zone. I'm sorry, into the Peoria zone. And now Kyle behind the Peoria net. To Stas. Back to Mason. Oh, his puck jumps over his stick and back into the Viper zone. And now Mason. Up ahead to Tony Harmon at center ice. Into the zone with Stas. Now Stas behind the Peoria net. Now Mason coming to help. Kept in the zone. Brendan along the near board. Now Peoria can't clear it. Mason shot on net. Blocker aside by the goalie. Tough angle. Now Stas behind the Peoria net. Back to Mason. Mason over to Nolan. Nolan with a shot. Deflected. Oh! Deflected by Brendan. Hits the post. And now Mason in his own zone. Luke along the near board. Oh, Peoria gets a shot right in the middle. However, the player couldn't control it. Now Axel to center ice. Up ahead to Luke. Now Peoria intercepts. Got Bennett there. Challenge at center ice. Now Axel, back over to David. David up ahead to Sebastian. Sebastian dumps it deep, and Eli gives chase. Now Axel able to fight for it behind the net. And Bennett gives up his body to keep it in his zone. But Peoria still comes away with it. And they miss on the pass, which goes into the Viper zone for Bennett behind his own net. Met there by a couple Peoria players. Puck splits free into the corner. And we're going to have a penalty coming up on Peoria as Bennett was hit from behind into the boards. And that's going to be an icing on the Vipers. But they're going to be on the power play. Minute 30 left in the second period, 1-0 Vipers. Now the Vipers. Nolan pushes it into the Peoria zone. And puck's still in the corner now. Brendan comes away with it back to Jacob. Back to Brendan. Brendan loses control. Just squirts out of the Viper zone. And the Vipers collect it back in their own zone. Now Kyle. Up ahead to Mason. I'm sorry, up ahead to Nolan. Unable to clear the zone. Now Kyle behind his own net to Bennett. Bennett over to Kyle. And Coach Tim was not happy with somebody over there. Back into the zone. Not sure what happened there. Peoria brought it towards the net. Had a centering pass that deflected off somebody. I'm not sure if it hit a Peoria stick or a Viper stick, but it hit a stick right in front. And goes in over Bennett's shoulder. I'm sorry, over Barrett's shoulder. We've got a 1-1 game. So Luke, Tony Axel out there with Steven and David. Up ahead to Luke. Brings it into Peoria zone. Centering pass for Axel. Just out of his reach. Nice play. And the puck comes through to Peoria. Out of the Viper zone. Nice play by David. They had a 2-on-1 there. David stayed with the far man, knowing that the puck man had a bad angle. Barrett able to make the save. Stas out there with Eli, Sebastian, Bennett, Nolan, I think. Peoria wins the draw back to the D. And Peoria with a nice play, had a man open, shot it over the net. Now Nolan in his own zone, loses his footing. Peoria able to keep it in, comes to the middle. Now Stas. Stas dumps it into Peoria zone. Vipers go off for a change. And now to center ice. Peoria shot saved by Barrett. Rebound comes to the near spot. I'm sorry, to the far side. Oh! Peoria had a man right in front, tried a backhanded shot. Barrett there to save it. Peoria keeps it in behind the Viper net. That's Stas with it. Up ahead to Luke. Back to Stas. Nice pass. Up ahead to Kyle. Pass intercepted by Peoria. Back into the Viper zone. Viper's unable to clear. Comes to Peoria. Now a shot. Man right in front. Nice save by Barrett. And Viper's clear. Icing waved off. Peoria behind their own net. Pass deflected over to David. And David up ahead. But that will be an ice. .40 left in the game. 1-1 score. We've got Tony, Luke, and Axel out there with Mason and David. Peoria wins the draw. Puck comes right to the middle. But the Vipers control. Mason across center ice into the Viper zone. He's got Tony far side. Shoves it front of the net. Peoria goalie able to knock it away. Now Peoria on the counter. Now the puck comes to Tony, dumps it in deep. Axel gives chase, and he will get there, keeps it behind the net. Sebastian. Centering pass to Tony. Tough one-timer, but it was unable to connect. Good job. All right, Axel now. And Vipers going for a change. Peoria comes in the normal. That doesn't go anywhere. Now Peoria on the deep. Oh! Long shot from the blue line. Hits the outside post. Comes away to Eli. Was able to clear it to center. Vipers putting some forechecking. Peoria out of Steven in his own zone. Over to David. Up ahead to David. Cross center ice to Eli. Eli with the shot on net. Saved by the goalie. 10:09 left in the game, 1-1. So Stas, Brendan, Kyle out there with Nolan and Bennett. Peoria wins the draw. Kyle to Stas, right in the middle, back to Kyle. Tough angle. And the goalie will cover it up. A little pushing and shoving in front. So now we go Luke, Tony, Axel. Looks like Luke is going to take the face off. Nolan and Bennett on D. Peoria with the drop, but Luke intercepts it behind the net. Finds Nolan, top of the blue line, back to Luke. Luke to the front of the net, centering pass off the side by the goalie. And now Peoria up ahead into the zone. And the pass deflected right to Barrett, covers up. 9:34 left in the first, 1-1. So Stas, Kyle, Brendan with Mason and David. Peoria wins the face-off. Behind the Viper net. Back up top, cross pass. Now Kyle. Vipers on a break. Kyle into the zone over to Stas. Yeah, and now we got a tripping penalty coming up on Peoria. Barrett comes off the net. Out of the net, off the ice. And the Vipers will go on the power play. Jacob, Eli, Sebastian out there with David and Mason. And the Vipers will be on a 2-man advantage. I'm sorry, a 2-minute advantage. 9 minutes left in the game, a 1-1 tie. Like they're calling it 2 and 10 on Peoria. I'm not sure what happened there. I saw the original 2 penalty, but I don't know what they deserve the 10. Now, Vipers win the draw to David, to Jacob. Jacob down low to Eli behind the Peoria net. Nobody home. Peoria comes away with it. Peoria in the Vipers zone. Eli collects it. And now the Vipers with Sebastian to center ice. And the Vipers recollect in their own zone. Minute 15 left. In the power play, Tony with Luke and Axel into the Peoria zone. Tony loses it. And the Vipers have to also back up on the Peoria zone. Another breakaway. Saved by Barrett. Vipers giving up a short-handed chance there, not seeming to connect on the power play so far. Minute 2 left in the Viper power play. We got Stas, Kyle, and Brendan out there with Steven and Bennett. And now the draw comes to Brendan. To Bennett behind his own net. Who breaks out of the zone. Up ahead, Brendan, center ice. Able to dump it deep. And the Vipers unable to keep it in the zone. Comes away to Brendan at center ice. Into the Peoria zone. Oh! Brendan whiffs on the puck, but it still goes deep. And Peoria at a 1-on-3. Now Stas back. Stas to Sebastian. His pass goes outside the zone. Vipers have to regroup. Over to Kyle, center ice. In the neutral zone, over to Nolan. Back to Mason. Up to Sebastian, to Stas in the middle. Surrounded by Peoria defensive defenders. And the Vipers unable to keep it in the zone, away to Kyle. He is going to dump it deep. And go off for a change. Now Stas behind the Peoria net. Centering pass to Jacob. Unable to get a shot. I'm sorry, it was to Sebastian. Unable to get a shot off. And now Peoria looked like they were offside. Nothing called there. And Peoria stealing the Viper zone. And Sebastian and a Peoria player kept getting tangled up over on the far side. It looks like they're both going to go off. We're going to have coincidental liners. .6:26 left in the game, still tied 1-1. We're going to have, they're going to stay 5-on-5. It'll be Tony, Axel, Luke with Bennett and David. And Axel wins the draw for Bennett. Nobody there but him. Comes to Peoria. Now Axel able to push it away behind his own net. Bennett giving a rough ride over to David. David intercepts a Peoria pass, brings it out of his zone. Vipers have an attack coming. David throws in front of the net, nobody home. To Bennett, far side. Bennett to Luke. Luke back up top to David. Back to Luke, man on him. Chucks it in front of the net. Peoria able to get a hold of it. And clear. Now Tony. Able to dump it deep as the Vipers go off for a change. And Peoria dumps it all the way down. It'll be an icing. 5:25 left in the game. 1-1. For those of you that missed it, Sebastian scores the Vipers' goal in the first period. David threw the puck in front of the net. It was just sitting right there on the doorstep. Sebastian slammed it home. That's the only Viper offense to this point. Now we have Jacob, Brendan, Kyle out there. Jacob wins the puck. Wins the draw to Brendan. Gets a shot off, but it's blocked. Now puck comes to Jacob behind the net. There's a wraparound. And the goalie is right there. They shut the door. Here we go, 5:15 left in the third period. The draw goes to the corner. And Peoria comes away with it. They're going to have a 2-on-1 break. They're going to have a 3-on-1 break. And Mason and Barrett combine to... Mason and Barrett combine to stop the play, and then there's a little scrum in front of the Viper net. I didn't see any hands go up. I don't think there's a penalty there. Alright, face-off will stay in the Viper zone. Coach Tim has got Stas, Eli, and Luke out there. Along with Bennett and Nolan. And the Peoria bench looking for some sort of clarification on something. Not sure what they could be complaining about. And here we go. Stops on the draw for the Vipers. Brings it back to Bennett behind the net. Peoria right there, though. And they get it back to their D. Chips in front. It's Nolan skate, blocker to side. Now Luke to Eli to center ice. Able to dump it in low. Stas gives chase. And comes away with it in the corner. And now Peoria. Chips it in front. Blocker to side by Barrett. Peoria able to keep it in the zone. Now comes away. Man right in front, but Luke there to stop him. Eli has the puck, but it's kept in the zone. And now it looks like Peoria come in offside. Nothing called. Shot on, saved by Barrett, no rebound. 4:05 left in the first. I'm sorry, the third, 1-1. Here we go. Axel, Tony, and Brendan out there with David and Steven. Peoria in their own zone. Push it to the neutral zone, and Tony collects it to David. Over to Steven. Cross ice to Brendan. Able to chip along the board. Now the Vipers come in. Brendan had a low shot, knocked aside by the goalie. Just out of the reach of Tony. Now the Peoria comes back on the counterattack. Looked like Peoria player beat Barrett there and slid the puck into the crease, and actually it was Barrett's stick that knocked it in. I think he was just trying to reach back and do anything he could to stop the shot. And Peoria leads 2-1. 3:32 left in the game. Vipers need to score. So Eli, Jacob, Sebastian with Nolan and Mason. Looks like they're calling penalty on Steven. Steven heading to the box. I'm not sure what happened. The Vipers remain at full strength, even though Steven's sitting in the box. into the zone. And Peoria keeps the puck in the zone. Takes a shot, blocked nicely by Nolan. Puck still in there. Centering pass blocked by the Vipers. Now Sebastian up to Kyle. Back to Sebastian. To Nolan. Puts it on net, but is blocked. And Peoria clears up. And Peoria now taken by Stas in his own zone. From Nolan over to Kyle. Cross ice to Sebastian. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left in the game. The Vipers need a goal. And now Peoria to center ice. And they dump it in deep. Chased by David. Leaves it for Bennett. And Bennett up to Brendan, up to Stas. Who has it. And chips it back to David. Center ice. Brendan deflects it into the Peoria zone to be clear. And then the puck brought in offside. Minute 42 left in the game. 2-1 Peoria. And here we go. Tony Axel with Nolan and Mason. And Peoria brings it down, sends it deep. The puck squirted pretty right in front of the Viper net. Gets knocked away. And now Tony Hunter. Up ahead to Axel. Over to Luke. Brings it into the zone. Fires a shot on net. Goes wide. But comes to Nolan. And then puck squirts free to center ice. Tony to Mason. Mason dumps it in deep. 1 minute left to, 1 minute, 5 seconds left to go in the game. And the puck goes to Eli. Eli gets a shot up. Oh, rebound came right on front, but it's knocked away at the last second. And now Jacob brings it back into the zone. And the puck is just kind of lost in some confusion. Comes to Bennett now at center ice with Nolan. 40 seconds left. Nolan into the Peoria zone. His shot is deflected wide. And we have an empty net. Barrett is off the ice. Vipers have 6 men out there. There's 28 seconds left. And Peoria able to control the puck up ahead. Stas comes away with it. 15 seconds left to Kyle. Kyle with a long shot deflects to the corner. 10 seconds left to go. 5. And the Vipers are not going to get a shot off, and that is going to do it. Folks, that was a really good, hard-fought game. We just made too many mistakes that let the Peoria have too many chances, and they win 2-1. And whatever chances we had left at making the playoffs are likely done. Be sure to tune in to the Viper International Streaming Network for our second game today at 4 o'clock against Peoria. The first one was fast, fun, and physical. We would expect the same on the second. Hopefully a better result.